Hi, welcome to Blacticulate, a podcast series featuring UK young black professionals, where we find out how they do what they do, so you can too. Or not. After all, it is your life. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Blacticulate, a podcast series that features UK young black professionals, where we try to find out how they do what it is they do, so you can too. We are basically asking them to send that lift back down, so we can rise. Now, today's episode, we have Michelle Owusu, who has many hats, but on this occasion, we are speaking to her specifically about being a marketing manager for Channel 4. Yes, guys, Channel 4. She's been in Channel 4 for the last 5 years, working on documentaries. She's worked on Made in Chelsea, Empire, etc., etc. More to the point is she does give us best pieces of advice on how to get into the industry, specifically what marketing actually is, because marketing can be quite an ambiguous term, but she specifies what that means within Channel 4 and the resources she uses, the news outlets and like media consumptions to keep herself up to date with her industry. She gives us that, and yeah, she's just phenomenal, really and truly. She just is. She gives us her details, so I do highly recommend getting in touch with her if you can. Now, before we go, any feedback about this episode or Blacticulate generally would be invaluable. So do hit us up on our social media handles, Blacticulate across all major platforms, or via email, which is contact@blacticulate.com. Now, let's get back to this episode. It's a great episode, especially if you want to know what marketing is, if you want to know how to get yourself into a big news institution like Channel 4. I can't imagine anyone better than Michelle, who's been doing it for the last 5 years, to help us along the way. So without further ado, I bring to you Michelle Owusu. Bye. All right, I think we're pretty good.
And they can separate that from the
yeah, exactly. So the voice you're hearing is Michelle. Is it Owusu?
Owusu.
Am I saying that right?
Well
I should do. We're neighbours. We're neighbours. Ghanaian versus a Nigerian jollof.
Oh, he's going there. Shots already.
Shot fired. This is going to be a great conversation. So yes, like I mentioned earlier, and the voice you are listening to is Michelle Owusu. So say hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
As he said, Michelle Owusu here. Some people call me Michelle Shanti. That's just a nickname.
Hey.
But we're all friends and family here, right? So
Yeah.
you can call me Michelle Shanti if you want.
How comes? Why don't you do that?
It's a really long story and not a funny one. So I'll let that slide by. But no, it was just a nickname that I got in uni. My friends started calling me Shanti for some sort of reason, and then it just stuck.
Black friends.
Yeah, it's always those, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just give me weird names.
Yeah, just
God.
right at it.
And then it stuck, and then I embraced it. So sometimes you just embrace.
Is that all on your Twitter handle?
It is.
Is it?
Yes, at Michelle Shanti on Twitter.
Boom.
There you go. Got the plug in already.
And I was going to do that at the end, but you know
I
what?
work in marketing. Like, seriously.
There you go. So look at that segue.
Nice.
So yes, the reason why we've actually got you here is because you do work in marketing.
Yes.
And for a specific company, which I'm sure we all will know. You know what? Let me not do you the service. Tell us what it is you do, and we'll chop it up.
Cool. We'll go from there. So I work in marketing. I work at Channel 4 in the marketing team, and I have been here about 5 years now. So
Damn, you hit them rungs.
Yeah, got those handcuffs on. So yeah, riding deep. So yeah, I've been at Channel 4 for about 5 years, working in the marketing team, and it's across various departments that I've sort of developed my experience. So I used to work across documentaries and news and current affairs. Then I used to work on E4 for a bit. So working like Made in Chelsea and helping launch Empire when it came to the UK. She
winked at me when she said Made in Chelsea, by the way.
I know it's a guilty pleasure. You look like a Made in Chelsea guy. You will love it. So yeah, I worked on the campaign that launched Empire in the UK as well. And then now I work across drama. So the likes of Humans, National Treasures, really high profile dramas with high profile talent. So that's the department I'm in at the moment. So that's the day job.
You've got many hats, aren't you?
Yeah,
I love it. You said that's the day job.
That's the day job.
All right, let's. We've got that, guys. So let's actually hear the other hats as well,
yeah,
and we'll get back to the day job, the money maker.
Yeah. So I've always loved television, hence why I'm working at Channel 4. It's always been a channel that I've always wanted to work at. But at the same time, I've got a real passion for diversity and the inclusion of diverse voices and stories in TV and film in particular. I guess it's just stemmed from growing up and not really having that many UK references. It's always been Sister Sister, Moesha, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air that I always used to watch. And there was very few UK bits and pieces around. So that I think that always stuck with me. But then obviously trying to get into the industry and finding it a bit difficult because I didn't really know how. I just thought, well, this is my passion. I love television. Let me just start a little side blog about it. So that's how that
you were
sort of started. So yes, I was blogging.
Around what age is this, do you want me asking?
Oh my gosh. Well, that's probably... Well, I had a
kind of know what age you are anyway with a sister reference.
Gosh, I've revealed myself. But I had my first time I started blogging, I probably was in university, and that was more a social commentary blog, so it wasn't anything TV related. I think blogging was coming up, and it was, what was the site? Was it Blog Site?
Blogspot?
Blogspot? Yeah.
That was my
first.
Blogspot.
Yeah,
Google,
Blogspot. That's what I was using. And it's just social commentary, but again, still around the idea of diversity and how brands sort of presented it. And then obviously trying to get to TV, trying to figure out how. Then I stopped using the social commentary blog. I sort of moved it to television. So I started doing that probably about 5 years ago.
Amazing. There's a lot to be said about that, where you were just doing it, self-started, you didn't need permission, you were blogging, while still had your eye on the prize of trying to get on TV.
Exactly, and I found that sort of helped as well, getting through to Channel 4, because in the interview, yes, I could say I've done all my degrees, or not all my degrees, I've got one degree, let me not hide it. But done my degree, did my master's, but they were really fascinated with the things I had done outside of academic stuff.
Right.
So it talks a lot about the blog that I have, and it's Scene TV. scenetv.co.uk is the website.
Oh, does it still exist?
Yeah, it exists.
Okay.
So yes, so this is the blog that I'm currently running now, but it's turned into almost like a platform for news, opportunities for people to get into the industry, features on up and coming creatives, and
Scene, SEEN.
CENE. Scene, like end scene.
Yes.
So,
Scene TV.
Yeah. So what started as just an outlet for my passion about diversity has now turned into a platform that actually really helps other people.
Amazing.
So over the last 5 years, I've just sort of seen it grow, and the audience numbers grow as well, and the opportunities that have come with it have been amazing. I get to go to a lot of screenings. For example, last month, I think Spike Lee was in the country.
Yes, he was.
Yes. So he did like an intimate Q&A.
At the BFI, right?
Yes. So I was able to go down to that, and it was hosted by an experiential events company called We Are Parable. Got to report on that event. And last year, we were officially accredited to be a media sort of outlet for the London Film Festival, again, hosted by the BFI.
Amazing.
So got to go to press junkets and screenings
of
things like...
And this is everything outside of the Channel 4.
Exactly. So I almost say, yes, Channel 4 is like the day job and I love it to bits, but I would always emphasise engaging with your passion projects because, one, that's what helped me get into Channel 4 as well, because like I said, they were so fascinated with, oh my gosh, you've gone out of your way, use your own initiative to develop your passions outside. And it just shows creative thinking, it shows initiative, and those are all the things we would like in someone working here.
How is that not your 9 to 5 then? It sounds like it's
it feels like a 9 to 5, and it's only recently in the last year, 6 months maybe, that I've brought people in to now help, because obviously rising the ranks at Channel 4 means even more work and responsibility, which I do love, but then it also limits the time that you have outside of work to try and dedicate to your passion. So I'm trying to keep them at an even keel in terms of the effort I give, but obviously most of my hours are spent at work. So I do have a few interns that sort of report on events, and it gives them
out and then basically build up their experience.
Exactly, and I think that's a useful way to sort of give back as well. So people who are trying to be like journalists and they're fresh out of uni and they just want to be in and amongst the industry, because I meet a lot of people just by going to events and people in a similar field. So it's so valuable to do that. So to be able to give other people who want to be in that area that exposure and that access.
And a Scene TV is an angle specifically, because I know you say you're all about diversity and inclusivity. So is it just spotlighting and showcasing people of colour?
Yes, so I would say the majority of it would be through a black sort of lens.
Okay. Because you're black?
I know, yeah, of course. And because it started as a passion project and it's come from a real place in that I did not see myself reflected. So in some ways it is skewed that way, I would say. But then we do look at other cultures. For example, we just reported on an Indian season that the BFI are hosting about Indian filmmaking. Disability is another angle that we go in, and also just class as well, because that's the big issue. Like, it's not only race. And I think a lot of these things, are intersectional. So class is a big issue as well. So making sure, there are enough people from working class environments.
I did not know
female
this
directors is a big issue in the industry as well.
Yeah.
So it covers all angles, but I will say, yes, if you go onto the website, you might see that there is a black skew, but I'm not
you're on Blacticulate here, so...
there you go. So I'm speaking to the right kind of people. No one's going to throw stones. It's fine.
It's okay. We spoke to our white friend and they said it was okay.
Thank you. Yes, a white friend to say.
It's funny because I never knew this. I actually brought you on here because of marketing for Channel 4.
I know, but yeah.
Is it a money issue? Is that why you haven't done fully fledged into scene TV?
Yeah, I think it's probably like all online platforms that have started up. You try and find your way and find a way that you can monetize what you're doing so it can turn into a full-time job. So that one, but I would say the largest thing, I do love what I do at Channel 4. I've always wanted to work at Channel 4. Studied marketing, did an international marketing masters. So it's always been a dream for me to be here. So at the same time, it's because I like doing both.
Okay, well, you touched upon that. Can we get into the professional context?
Yeah, cool.
A little bit? You love doing what you do at Channel 4. What do you do at Channel 4?
Yeah, so what do I do? I'm going to try and be succinct as possible.
Okay.
So marketing's role is all about making sure people know a program is on and want to watch it. So you're dealing with a lot of analysis and research into how the human mind sort of works and what will convince someone to watch a program. And also just behaviours. Where do people go? Where do people want to watch television, especially now where there's so many different platforms you can watch TV on? So it's a lot of it's founded in research and behaviours, but that's basically what marketing's role is. It's making sure people come and watch a TV programme. For example, Made in Chelsea. Say if Made in Chelsea's coming back for a new series, they're like, oh my gosh, it's coming back. We need to let people know. Not in that voice, but something along those lines. So what we would do is sit down and we'd say, okay, what's going to be our marketing strategy and campaign? So usually it consists of on-air trailers. That's our biggest sort of asset, running trailers on Channel 4 and Channel 4's other networks, because we have E4, More 4, Film 4, 4/7.
Right.
So there's quite a few. And
dare I say, is it free to do so, since it's your own assets?
I mean, yeah, if it's a program for Channel 4, yes, you definitely run that in your own airtime. We own the airtime, so you just you sort of pick where you want to run that. No one holler at me for any free advertising because I cannot help you. But but yeah, so we have an internal agency called 4 Creative, and they have producers and directors. So you'll sit down with them and say, okay, Made in Chelsea's coming back. We've got to make an exciting new trailer to get people excited about it. These are the storylines. Put this in it. Put that in it. So it's a lot.
It's not real. The story?
Ooh, did I spoil something? Nah, I can go into that a little bit later, but it isn't real. The situations may be manufactured slightly.
Yes.
But real people, real stories. But yeah, this is what so-and-so is going through this month, and this is what we should include. So once you've got all that down, they'll cut a trailer, a really nice trailer, and you'll sort of feedback with it. You'll speak to the legal teams as well to make sure that there's nothing in it that's offensive. You get it signed off by the commissioner, who's the person who sort of brought the program into the channel in the first place.
Right.
So that's one area, trailers. Then with some big campaigns, we do marketing we call it off air, so it's not on Channel 4. So that could be posters, radio ads, newspaper adverts, digital, Facebook, social, Twitter, Instagram ads.
And that all feeds into you. So
as a marketing manager, you've got to oversee that whole strategy and sort of pick, okay, these are the media that we're going to go down to. And you usually base it on research, as I said. So you'd be like, okay, well, Made in Chelsea, it's typically women of a certain age. We need to hit them here, here, here.
Yeah.
And then, so as a marketing manager, you've got to oversee all those different elements and make sure the campaign's delivered on time, make sure that it's effective, making sure that your budget, you're using that effectively as well, and making sure people come in and watch. So
what are you measured on?
So largely, there are quite a few sort of metrics, I would say. The main one is viewing figures, because I guess that's the job. You have to make sure people come and watch, but there are always factors that can run against you. And marketing don't work in a silo. You also have the press team. You might say press is a dying industry. Some people might argue, but it definitely isn't. When you look at the research and the people that found out about a program, they're looking in a magazine or in the listings, it is probably higher than you think it would be.
No, 100%. They said if you have the last pound to spend it on PR. Press.
There you go. Exactly. Exactly. Nice stat. I love it.
Thank you. I'm not a marketer myself.
Oh, right. No.
Oh, I am.
I'm with my people. I'm with my people.
But so you work on a large budget, and then you obviously have to ensure that the people watch it.
And then also it's about brand as well. So some of the research we do after a campaign is how has this campaign had an impact on how people see Channel 4? Because it is Channel 4's something that relies on the brand. Like when you say Channel 4, it makes you think of so many different things, like innovative, diverse, great, fun, risky programs. So it's how does your campaign positively, impact that. So it's not always about the ratings, and a lot of times it's about reputations. For example, some of our news and current affairs programs, they're not going to be as big as EastEnders in terms of numbers, but they're going to win awards and they're going to get, BAFTA nods, Golden Globe nods, Emmy nods, and they have done in the past. So it's about the reputation as well. So you've always got to keep that in mind.
Do your parents know what you do?
This is something I've been trying to tell them for so long. Like, I always
she works Channel 4 now.
They'll go to the church and announce it. Yes, my daughter is now working for Channel 4. And everyone's like, oh, Channel 4. But then ask them what I do and see what they come out with. I don't think they know. I think they think I make programs.
Interesting. Because I'm wondering what that conversation is, because you're working in a media industry. What was that conversation like? Or did they ever try and push you into a certain...
When I hear other people's stories and talk about, their dad wasn't to be a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer, I'm so thankful. I didn't really get pushed into those areas, and none of my siblings really did. Got a sister who works in healthcare, another brother who works in digital marketing. He's an analyst, and then another one who is just finished uni, but he's trying to pursue a business accounting sort of route. But we've never been sort of dictated to by our parents. All they say is you need to get your profession, something that you studied, something that you can get a job with at the end of the day. Yeah. So I do remember when I was picking my A-levels and I said I wanted to do dance. You can imagine how well that went down. So I think that's the only time I've been like, can you leave? Yeah. Get out of this room. Yeah, I think that's the only time I've been told off by my parents, because I loved dance as a child and my parents really invested in it. I started out with gymnastics.
They sent you to
I went to gymnastics. My dad paid for gymnastics classes. I went to dance all through my childhood. So I thought, these parents are backing me. I'm living, gonna be dancing for Beyonce, yo. I know. Exactly. Get my horizontal ready, get my horizontal down. Came, I was like, cool. So I'm gonna do business, English, media, and dance. My dad was like, had on me.
So what did you do instead?
So A-levels, I did business studies, English, just because I really love English, media studies, and I did psychology for an AS level.
And then moving from that, you went into higher education.
Yes, so I went to university. I went to Aston University in Birmingham.
Okay, wow.
Yeah,
sorry to hear that.
I'm joking. I'm going to leave, These shots are just so uncalled for.
What's wrong with
Aston? Where did you go?
I went back to LCC.
So
London. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So good.
Yeah, I think uni was a fun time. Yeah. So I did marketing, so very straightforward.
Did you know you needed to do that in order to do what it is you do now?
I feel like I did it because I liked it. And I think that's something I've always done throughout my life. I do things because I like it. Okay. I don't necessarily have my parents in my head saying you need to do this because you're going to get a job at the end of the day. Right. I tend to do things because I like it. I really like marketing because there's a mix of being creative and being strategic. And I think that just works with the things I was interested in and my personality as well. So I'm creative but very logical, and I like to look at research before I make a decision. It's that sort of merge of the two.
Molds quite nicely.
Yeah. So you don't need to do marketing to, when you speak to the people in my team, I think I'm the only one who has studied marketing.
Through and through marketing.
Through marketing. Okay. You've got people who've done English, philosophy, sociology, even maths.
What?
So you don't necessarily need it. And I think it's something I learned about the industry quite late. So that's when I said, I was struggling to find out how I could join the industry, because I thought you need to have all this media experience. I didn't have any strict media qualifications. I didn't know production very much, but I loved television. So having that passion for television is what shone.
Right.
So yeah, it doesn't. Yes, I think going to university shows a certain skill set and a certain, I put quote unquote, intelligence, because I think people assume, okay, you've been to university, you've passed with a certain grade, then there's certain sort of common sense that you might have, or intelligence about you,
or the ability and attitude to learn for a certain duration of time.
It's the time, exactly. And I always say, people are like, oh, you did this, you went to university, you did your master's, you're so smart. I was like, no, I just know how to pass. I know how to study, and I like to study, and I know how to play the game to pass an exam.
Right.
Like, if someone asked me a question, you could say, and that's why I have a niggling thing about exams and written exams, because I always feel like you can have the most amazing response to a question that is asked that no one's ever thought before, and it shows such a level of intelligence. But if in the marking book you haven't mentioned the points,
words, those keywords,
you'll get a 0.
Yeah.
So I have a big issue with the whole exam system, but I can't take that one on. I've got diversity to deal with, so I've got to pick my battles. But so that's what I mean. There's an assumption of going to university that you have a certain set of skills.
So basically, you're saying there's no typical route in.
I wouldn't say there was, and I think
you just need to be passionate.
I think passionate and show that. So anything you could do outside of work.
So, insofar as your role specifically with Channel 4, like environment,
yes.
You've been there for 5 years.
Yes.
So you've hit the rungs that can be hit. I'm sure there's still more rungs.
Yeah, there is still more.
Are you able to, for those who are listening, especially those who are aspiring to become marketers for such a company as Channel 4, what are the rungs?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you always start?
Yeah, and it'll differ for each one. And it probably has changed now since I've started, because now we've got an apprentice in our team. And that wasn't around 5 years ago. So it's probably changed a little bit, but how I started
still trying to make more rungs. I
know, more rungs.
You've got to dance for your dinner.
I know, exactly. So I started off as a marketing exec, but there was like a marketing assistant role underneath. So technically, you'll start off as marketing assistant, marketing exec, maybe go to senior marketing exec, because that's where I went to afterwards. Then marketing manager. The marketing manager is where I am at now.
Right.
And after marketing manager, you've got group marketing manager, and then you might have like a deputy head of marketing or just the head of marketing.
Right. And that's a top rung. So you
head of marketing, and after head of marketing, there's a chief marketing officer. So and he oversees a lot.
Now you
of
become
stuff.
that C-suite.
I know. Yeah, exactly. That's when you get your own office.
Isn't it? When you get a couple more zeros at the end of that bank balance. Get me. Okay.
But I think it's nice the way we work, because we work in an open plan office. So I sit. My deputy head of marketing is right behind me, and then again behind her is the head of marketing. So we're all quite close, and you get to sort of have those open conversations in the morning and be like, oh, have you seen Game of Thrones? Or you share news about the latest sort of marketing strategy that you've heard about. So it's a really nice sort of environment.
So do you execute and implement, or are you just looking at things strategically and you have all, I guess, your soldiers executing and implementing for you?
I would say I'm still part of the implementation.
Okay. What does that look like?
Yeah, and it can get down as granular as deciding what copy goes on a social media post.
Oh, wow.
But it can get the other end of the spectrum where you're saying, okay, which audience should we go for? Where does our strategy start? So that's the strategy starting point.
Right.
And then how do we position it? What's the one sort of phrase? What's the proposition that we think we're going to hang this whole campaign on? So that's the beginning phase. And as marketing manager, you have a lot of responsibility to set that. I think it took me a while to get to that level where I can set the strategy, because you have to do lots of research, speak to different departments in the building. So it's really about relationships as well, and knowing who to talk to. So not just research, speak to media planning, you might speak to an external media agency to get all the insights you can to develop that strategy. And that sort of filters down, and you're sort of managing that filtering process all the way down to, okay, the copy's going live tomorrow. This is what we need to say on this social media post.
Yeah.
To sort of say, so like, oh, do we say this? Do we say starts tonight? Do we say starts tomorrow? Like, what's more impactful? Like, it gets so granular to that point. But we do have social media teams that we work with. So along that spectrum and along that line, there are different teams that you work with at different stages. So, but the marketing person is the thread that goes through all of it, because that person at the end with the social media, they may not have been across this initial strategy at the beginning. So that marketing person is the conduit. Yes, it's the person who's going to carry it all the way through to the end.
Love that word, conduit.
Oh, I love that. That's my word for the day.
I can tell you love what you do.
Oh, you can tell.
Yeah,
okay, that's good.
Time. Honestly,
that's good.
I mean, I speak to a lot of entrepreneurs and stuff, and I rarely get the opportunity to speak to people who are in traditional corporate environments.
Right, yeah.
So, guys, if you are listening to me and you feel you can teach how you do what it is you do, holla. You already know how to. But can we always talk about the pros and cons of the role? Because let's not build such a fantasy.
Of course.
Are there certain types of characteristics, say, for instance, that might not do well in the profession?
I think if you like working by yourself, this is probably not the role for you.
Oh, really?
Because, as I said, you're the conduit throughout the whole strategy and whole campaign, and you've got to speak to so many different people. And if you just feel like you're not really a good communicator, or you just don't really like dealing with other people, that's why a lot of people become entrepreneurs. So I've heard from my entrepreneur friends, because they either don't like working too much with other people, and it's people from different walks of life. Like, that I would never, not in a rude way, but the people I work with are not always the people that I'm going to get engaged with outside. So you've got to know.
Having drinks with them or whatnot. Yeah.
Exactly. So it is really a people industry. I think anyone will sort of tell you that about media, that it is a people industry. It's about the relationships that you create. It's about the people that you do know. So I think anyone who's just like, I don't want to deal with people every single day. That's my day, dealing with other people every single day. From the moment I get in, it's picking up the phone, speaking to the agency downstairs, making sure they're all fine, speaking to our media agency, speaking to this person, speaking to that person. I talk all day. So by the time I get home, I'm just like,
bless you.
Shattered. No talking for the rest of the evening.
Right, gotcha.
So that's why people don't call me in the evening, or they just WhatsApp me. I prefer if you just WhatsApp me, because I'm done with talking. I really don't like phone calls in the evening.
Well, I'm grateful for your time.
Yeah, you're getting the blessing right now. So I'm going to crash in about 5 seconds.
Oh, no, please
joking.
don't. Please don't. Okay.
So yeah, I think that's
if
you don't.
If you don't enjoy working with
other people, I think you're going to struggle in a job like this.
Any others?
This industry thrives on ideas. And you don't have to necessarily be from the creative team to come up with an idea. Ideas can come from anywhere, and that's really encouraged in the industry. A lawyer can come up with an idea and you'd be like, oh, I didn't think of it like that.
Right.
And you sort of embrace it and try to take it on. So again, if you're a person who does like coming up with ideas, it's great for you. If you're a person who, I don't know, maybe likes to stick to the rules a bit, then maybe not.
Are there any work challenges?
Well, I mean, as with any job, I guess long hours, but I think especially working in media, because, you tend to be reactive and sometimes you have to be on your phone.
A tweet might have gone awry.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to keep your eye on social media. Even like real world events. For example, I also work across Film 4. We have lots of big blockbuster Film 4 trailers that might have explosions or people jumping off buildings or people in buildings. So it's just like, if something happens in the real world, obviously you don't want to be insensitive and put out a trailer that's, that looks similar to a real world incident that has just happened. Yeah. So I think it's quite reactive. So it means that your normal hours, what might be for some people, they're 9 to 5. It's not necessarily like that in the media industry. And just with television's always on, so it's not something that stops at 6 o'clock and you can pick it up, 9 o'clock in the morning and get in there. You've still got a few hours during the evening where television's still happening, so you've almost got to keep that in your head. So I try to switch off.
The hours,
I think time. And I guess because you're so busy, and we are quite a small team here, that there is a lot to do. But I think it's sort of expected, but I think it's a self-care thing that you need to manage within yourself. So I tend to switch off, weekends especially. I think there are enough people on an email chain if something happens. Or I would hear that something happens, and then maybe I'd check that, it doesn't impact any of the work that I'm doing. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like, most of the time I try to have that self-care and say, okay, I'm done with Channel 4, now I'm in CTV mode, and just try and switch off. But it's not always as easy
I do
to do that.
I don't know how to fit this in our conversation, so I might just be really abrupt. But guys, often, although it might not seem like it, I definitely do try and prep a little with our conversations. And so I always ask my guests, or I send them some questions.
Yes, they were fun questions.
And I just want a single sentence or a single word, right? But no, not Michelle. But do you remember the first time you felt black?
Yeah, I can't remember what I wrote now. Right. But I think growing up first gen, I think most people who are first gen will say, okay, I knew I was black quite early on because your culture is such a big part of your identity.
Yeah.
And even people here, they're like, oh, no, Michelle's Ghanaian. Or, they know that a lot of the time I say I'm Ghanaian first.
Yeah.
Even though I consider myself British Ghanaian, Ghanaian British. But being Ghanaian is such a huge part of who I am. And so I think maybe when I started school is probably when I first realised, like, oh, okay, these worlds are very different. Hearing the experiences of my friends and versus the experiences that I have at home and the food that you eat.
100%.
I think, the food is such a big thing. It's like, oh yeah, did you have fufu yesterday? Nah, sausage and beans. I'm like, oh, okay. Do you ever have fufu? It's like that. So I think it's just like, that's probably like starting school was when you realise, okay, people are different.
Yeah.
But I think then, I had an older sister, I had lots of cousins, and where I lived in the area, there were so many, black people around that I felt like, okay, this is my world, this is my bubble.
You mentioned something which, if you don't mind us talking about it, regarding a red car.
Yes. It's so weird. When you asked me that question, I think, obviously it's not something I talk about all the time, but it's a memory that I have. And it's like, I can still see the person's face. So I said in the sort of responses that there used to be a guy that used to drive around in a red car around my area, Southeast London, and used to shout racial things, I think, at kids. I do sort of remember his face. It's probably melded into another person, but I have an image of him in my mind. And he used to just drive around. I think all the sort of parents knew because every time you see the red car, you'd be like, get away from the red car, like, get back inside, that red car's there again, sort of thing. It wasn't often. And I think it probably lasted a matter of months before, and then we never ever saw it again. And I think I said in the response, I don't know if it was a paedophile, racist, or just a racist, but I felt like you're only approaching children. There must be some paedophile thing about you, but really, really odd. So I think, by that time I had started school, so I knew that the world was different. So I think that was the first time I experienced any kind of racism, I would say. But at the time I was just like, what's this strange man doing? I didn't really have any context for racism. And the school that I went to, even though, yes, it was very mixed, it still had a large black community. So I never felt alone. I think other people's experiences might have been different. I've got friends who grew up in Coventry or who grew up in like more, sort of rural areas, and their school experience is totally different to mine. Yeah. So I think I almost grew up around my people, I would say, quote unquote. And then when I went to secondary school, I went to St. Saviour's in Olabs, which is in Elephant and Castle, and black girls were the majority in my class. Yeah, we ran that school basically. So again, I didn't feel out of place going up to university. Going up to college, I went to a Bait one.
Okay.
I went to SFX, which was in Clapham.
Wow, she named and shamed that college,
because I do like SFX. Yeah. I know everyone has their things about college, and it was a Bait college, blah, blah, blah. But I enjoyed my time at SFX. I picked up a couple of great friends. So I see it as a blessing that I went there. I guess going back to secondary school, I did work experience for 2 weeks and did at a bank, Rothschild's Bank. And again, that's the first time I felt a professional setting, like, so this is what I'm working towards. Right. Just knowing that, okay, I'm not going to be the majority here, but I'm probably going to be the one. Right. The one. Yeah. In any sort of professional environment. So I think that prepared me. And then obviously leaving university, and I worked in various places. I worked at a PR company, Weber Shandwick, and then I worked in public sector a little bit for a charity. So again, I think going into those professional settings and going through to them quite early, because I also made sure that I did work experience during university. That's
like phenomenal advice, really, that people need to understand.
I say it to my little brother all the time. Like, I know it's easy to say, summer holidays, oh yeah, school's out, let me chill. I cannot say how valuable that experience was. Just like every summer, trying to find some kind of, even if it's 2 weeks, even if it's a couple of days, like just to say, can I shadow you? And I'm really like bold and bolshy. Like I'll find someone's email address and be like, hey, what's up?
Nice.
I got a proposition for you. How about? And I remember I was watching, I can't remember what video I was watching. It was probably a Gary V sort of inspirational video. Yeah, exactly. So it's always saying, think about what you can offer someone. There's a lot of people who go out saying, oh, I really want this job, or I really want this, blah, 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 blah. But what are you actually offering to this person that you're asking something for? A lot of people will give you an opportunity if they feel like they're going to get something off the back of it. That's human nature. Right. They're quite selfish. So it's like, what value can you give to someone? So I think always in my approach, I've always thought about that. Like, why would you bring me in? Like, what can I do for you? And it pays back tenfold. So a lot of the jobs I had coming out of uni.
That's phenomenal advice. What's the worst advice you've been given?
Worst advice I'd be given. And
I interjected there. I felt like you wanted to say something off the back end of uni. Sorry, Michelle.
No, it's all right. I talk so much.
No, it's all good.
I was going to say, so off the back of uni, a lot of the jobs I got in that small period after finishing uni were recommendations.
Amazing.
And that's because of years built up doing work experience on the side and adding and building that content. I cannot say how valuable that sort of is, especially when you come out of uni. Then you're just looking like, oh my gosh, what do I do with my life? Like doing that background work.
Yeah, a lot of people. I mean, this is what I tell those who are coming up. University is going to spit you out regardless. Exactly. Like whether or not you pass or you don't, it's going to spit you out regardless. So you prepped for the real world.
There you go.
So when you have an opportunity to actually gain as much experience, it's invaluable because you're not only gaining experience from the actual discipline that you're looking to go into, but actually gaining experience from those professionals who are doing what it is you potentially want to do when you leave. Yeah.
So like I said, at Channel 4, they don't necessarily look for a degree. They're looking, can you communicate? Can you work with other people? Have you got good organisational skills? So if you can build all of that before you even you finish uni or you're ready to take on like a professional environment, then you put yourself ahead of a lot of people who came out with maybe firsts but don't have any work experience.
100%.
So, yeah.
Well, amazing. Is there anything, just to put a nail on the professional context before we go into the light fire questions, is there anything that you think I've overlooked in just a conversation that we're having regarding how to do what it is you do? Because are there any specific tools, any trade like magazines, press, anything to be reading, to be just aware of?
I've always been a reader as well. I just love reading books, and a lot of my reading material, when people say, oh, what are you reading? I'm like, Campaign magazine. Yes. So it's not like a big literary sort of novel that I'm sort of got my head buried in. It is trade. And a lot of it, newspapers.
So you mentioned Campaign magazine.
So Campaign magazine, Marketing Mag, Marketing Week.
Marketing Week,
and also Broadcast.
Okay, is it called Broadcast?
Yes.
Okay.
Better be called that. Because I get it every day as an email alert. But it just sounds like that's just so
so it's like newsletters as opposed to actual physical
copies. So you can sign up for a newsletter, but you can also but that's a subscription. You can pay for the actual sort of copy. And then
PR Week as well.
PR Week. And also things like Guardian. Like before I knew what those trade bits were. Media Guardian, I was on that every single day. Because that just gives you a lowdown of the industry. And it's for free. Like, people complain that Guardian's so left. But, I am. So I think it fits my school of thought. So, Media Guardian is a great, great resource. And I would say always be on the lookout for opportunities that are probably not, shouted about the most, because the way I got into television or even knew that I could get into it is because I jumped on a scheme by the Edinburgh Television Festival. They do it every year. It's called The Network. So they take about 200 young people up to Edinburgh during the Edinburgh International Television Festival every summer. And they just put you in like workshops, masterclasses, just learning about script writing, program development, marketing and things like that, just learning about the industry in general. And they don't ask that you have any experience whatsoever. The application form just says, tell me about a program that you like. And it had a few other questions like what you're doing, like CV-based questions like what you're currently doing, blah, blah, blah. But at the time I was working PR and I was like, I really want to try this, get into the TV sort of world. And it came up as an ad because I was reading The Guardian. Right. So I saw an ad on there, thought, off a whim, let me just apply for it. Talked about a program. I cannot remember what program I talked about. Might have been like a reality show, like Made in Chelsea or something like that at the time. I don't know. I can't remember. Or The Hills. I used to love The Hills.
Yeah, look at that. So many guilty pleasures.
I know. So did that, and I was so surprised that I got through. But I ended up getting through. There are 2 other black girls in my class, or in that scheme. I think now they've probably reached out more and it's probably well known, because at the time I'd never heard of it in my whole entire life. Right. But having that experience, I think changed my career, not to sort of embellish it and make it sound like, but it was a moment when I thought, this is accessible. And I think it's more a mindset thing, because you sort of built, especially 5 years ago or longer than that, you just built that, okay, this world is maybe not for me, because you don't see yourself
as a representation, right?
Exactly. So even getting into that network was a boost, and then being in close contact with people who are head of development at BBC or head of news, and they were so receptive. They would give you their email addresses, and so off the back of that, I had a few email addresses. I reached out, and they were just so like, okay, cool, come in.
Amazing.
Here's a week. So I spent like 2 weeks at MTV News. Off the back of that, I met a lady there called Susan Eunice, and she was like an MTV producer. She's now working in South Africa, but she had an entertainment website called Punch Bowl Blog, very old school. So I started doing work with them. So you see how it's all linked, and I worked with them for about 2 years and going to like more music and entertainment events. So again, it built up my experience and my knowledge in that area. So see how it all sort of links together, and I think it was just like it opened a world for me that I never knew I could get into initially.
So yes. You guys listening?
So yes. So try and find schemes, maybe in the most remote place. It's not going to come to you, is what I would say. And I know that's annoying, because it's like, why should I have to put so much extra effort into finding it? But if you really want it hard enough, you'll go out and look for it. So find those schemes or any sort of initiatives or networking or panels and talks, like the BFI, BAFTA Guru, they always do talks. Latimer talks, like not too long ago I had to talk with Reggie Yates, and it's like, it's free. You just go down and you just meet so many people who are in the media industry that way, and you just make connects. So find talks, read those industry mags if you're looking for marketing specifically or PR specifically, read those trade magazines, and just like articles, and also any sort of books on people that you are inspired by that have written, like blogs, or I won't call them self-help books, but
Oh, like those lifestyle gurus, say like Gary Vee and
I've only jumped. I know. Look, someone's on it. Someone's got his book list.
Listen, we're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, because I think they
offer
the same kente cloth. Because I think maybe you might think they're over the top, but they offer good life skills. I feel.
Yeah.
So in terms of like believing in yourself and going out and getting it, I think they can offer some good skills in that area.
Amazing. So you ready for some quick round fire questions?
Gosh, let's see.
The answers don't have to necessarily be quick. Ideally, let's make it quick.
Okay, let's make it quick. I can't do quick. You know already. He asked me to write down one sentence and I wrote a paragraph for each response.
If I was to mention the word success,
who
springs to mind and why?
One person.
Yeah. Well, okay, give me people.
Okay, I'm going to say one person. Ava DuVernay, the director. Yeah. And there's a reason why, because she was very passionate about directing, but she didn't really get her break until her 30s. And there are some people who feel like, oh, if I don't get it now, I'm going to give up. It's done. It's too late. I'm too old and whatnot. And I guess you always hear about those overnight successes or child prodigy. The world is obsessed with youth and feeling you have to have made it by your 20s, or what are you doing with your whole entire life? Someone like her, someone like Viola Davis, who again didn't really get her shine until later on in life. Those are the people I look up to and sort of say, wow, well done you for continuing with your passion. And I think Ava talked about it. Ava, first name basis, my best friend. She talks about it, I think not too long ago, in an article just saying, do it for the love of it rather than for the fame. And I guess, there are some people who are in it to get sort of success. But she said she was just as happy as showing her documentary to 30 people in a community hall and seeing their reaction versus screening it at, with Netflix and, getting a reaction from the whole entire media. Like, she just loves creating content, and that creates a reaction in people or changes their thoughts in some way. That's what she set out to do. So to her, that is success, whether she's showing it to, a film festival versus a community hall. So I look up to her and sort of say, okay, you're successful because you're living out your life, doing something that you love and that you've chosen to do. And I know that not everyone has that opportunity.
I thought this was going to be brief.
I know. I told you. I said, is this a quick fire question? Yeah. Oh my gosh. I thought this was just an extra bonus question.
A quick fire question. My girl went.
Listen, I don't do quick fire. I don't do quick. I am my mother's child. I don't do quick. I'll sit you down and take you something. Okay. I'm doing quick. Quick fire. Quick fire. Let's do quick fire.
No, I do understand that. Okay,
yes.
so.
Okay. Now it's quick fire. Seriously.
Yeah, it was as well before. But we'll go again.
Let's ignore that one. That was a shout out to Ava.
What would you spend your last £5 on?
Plantain. Sorry, now I'm being really strict.
Yeah, you went so in like that. Her hands on the table, guys. You can't see her, but she's really restricted herself. And the way she fired it, like it was a rush. Plantain.
Become a mastermind.
Wow,
like,
plantain. I like that. No one's ever said that.
Should I?
Yeah, please, of course, why not?
Plantain is a gift from God.
I like that.
We should respect it. Like, if I'm going to go out and this is my last £5, my last £5 about, you can buy like what? 3 for £1 in Peckham. I will enjoy. Why should I not enjoy? I will enjoy life, please.
Okay. What is the most hated English word for you? Does that make sense? So the most hated.
Yes. I don't like the word but. I try not to use it often.
Explain.
Especially when you're having a talk with someone and you're engaging in a debate, because I feel like but is almost like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not going to acknowledge it in any sort of positive way. It's almost like it negates what
you've just said. But
so I liked that top, but if there was another one that would be better, just saying you don't like the top. You don't like the top. That's fine.
Right.
Or you like the top.
Okay.
But don't pretend that you like the top and then put but after it. I think it's just a conversational thing where people, I don't know, a lot of people talk to respond and don't talk to listen and really acknowledge what people are saying to them and really internalize it. Think, okay, so that's where you're coming from. Okay, maybe I don't agree, and I'm going to tell you I don't agree, but I do respect what you just said. Yeah. I'm not going to put a but at the end of it to say, I disagree.
Okay, so I want to give you the penultimate question because I do. And we're looking at the timing. So
let's go.
I do want to actually ask you, if you could do a TED Talk, anything outside your profession of marketing, what would it be on?
So I would do a TED Talk on being the loudest version of yourself. And I guess like going through professional, and this is like something that's happened like throughout my professional career. You know, people would give me advice like, oh, you've got to maybe be a bit louder, or, you know, in this industry, it's all about big personalities. And I think I went through a lot thinking that, oh my gosh, maybe I'm too quiet for media, or maybe I don't really fit as a media personality because, you know, this is what I'm sort of seeing outside the, you know, quiet exhibitionist. I'm not really one of those. So it took me a while to realize, and I say a while in that it's only been maybe the last few years or even a year or two, that you don't have to be another person. You could be yourself, but just be a louder version of you. Okay. So don't shy away from the things that make you you. So yes, I've got a very silly sense of humor. My little brothers cuss me all the time saying like, you're such a big kid. So before maybe I was stifled that. I like embrace that. Yes, I'm a big kid. I'm going to have fun and jokes because that's just who I am. I'm not a different person. I'm just embracing who I am and being louder with it. So if I was to give a TED Talk, it would just be to encourage everyone. So you don't have to be different to fit in. You just be a louder version of yourself because you are you. There's nothing that's going to change that. And
my final question before I ask you how we can find you on the World Wide Web is, how would you like to be remembered?
I would like to be remembered as someone who has sort of championed diversity and inclusion. I think that's like my biggest life passion, I would say. So that's why Scene TV plays like a big role in my life. It's just about giving people a platform for their voices to be heard. So I've coined the term myself. I don't know if I should say it here, but yeah, there's some. I know, exclusive. So some people call themselves a storyteller. I sort of call myself a story seller because I like to sell other people's stories and give them a platform where they can shout about, you know, their experiences or their talents. So that's what I do through Scene TV. And marketing is part of selling as well. So I just feel like that sort of word brings it all together. So to be known as a great story seller. Okay,
guys, I feel like we need to definitely get you round 2, round 3, round 4.
Listen, you know I can talk now, right?
Because you have many hats and there are a plethora of things that we clearly haven't touched upon, which I'd like to. And guys, do also make me accountable. So if there's any questions that you were like, Ade, why didn't you ask Michelle this, that, or the other? Yeah. Get at me or get at her directly. And how can we get at you directly?
I like that link. Find me on Twitter, as I mentioned at the beginning, so at Michelle Shanti. So it's MICHELLESHANTI. Find me on Instagram the same way, but I might block you if you look a bit creepy. And Facebook is for my friends and family, so nah.
Yeah.
So when that's my place. And Scene TV, www.scenetv.co.uk.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And when we do find you, is there anything specific?
Just say hi. Like, I'm a friendly person. And what can I help you with?
Oh,
and then what can you do for me?
Gotcha.
Oh, I like that. What can you do for me?
Yeah,
I know. Sound like a boss.
You're a boss. Then you dash. No boss. Okay. Hey guys, we really appreciate you listening, and if you have any feedback, please leave it in the comment section below. Also, all the info about the guests, the links and the resources we speak about will be in the description below. And last but not least, please do get in touch if you can teach us how you do what it is you do. Because after all, Blacticulate is all about empowering and upskilling the community. Thanks guys, you're the best. See you soon.